Hey everybody, welcome back. Devin, the OG original Grognard, sitting down here back at the corner. And we're going to do something a little bit different. Yeah, I know. I tend to say that most games that I pull out and play. We're stepping back into the sports gaming realm. I've done a couple sports games in the past, mainly face to the mat wrestling. There's some people out there who may not think sports games and war games have a lot in common. I think they are intrinsically tied to one another, that if you enjoy sports games, you can enjoy war games. If you enjoy war games, you can enjoy sports games. Because really, a lot of sports games, what it comes down to is numbers and stats and rivet counting. That's why a lot of people are into war games. They're into stats, they're into numbers, they're into rivet counting. And it's about numbers. It's about making decisions. It's about strategy, and it's about tactics. And you get a lot of that in sports games. And I'm not going to go into all the different sports games that there are out there. I've done that before in past videos. And if you're interested, just do a quick, easy Google search. There's dozens of them out there. Stratomatic being the big one. Avalon Hill did a bunch of them back in the day. But the company that I've really been on a kick for here lately, Play.com, Plaay.com, does really good sports games. Pretty affordable, too. Pretty much all of their games are $40, and that includes shipping and handling. And they usually always come with a couple, 4 teams with them, just to get your beak wet for what the gameplay is like. And of course, you can order the different teams and the different seasons. And it's like for second season baseball. I mean, they've got teams going all the way back to the '60s, I think, and so they've got most of the year's teams down, and you can order them direct from Play for, I think it's like $19, or you can get them the digital versions of the team sheets for like 12, I think, or something like that. So really, honestly, compared to other games like ASL or anything from MMP or GMT, where you're spending upwards of $120 for a game, $40 for a game, including shipping and handling. Then you can pick and choose what teams you want for, $15-20 per after that. Think of it as a DLC for the game if you're into computer games and anything on Steam. I was tempted to originally go with the 78 season, just because that was the was it 77, 78. First year, my Denver Broncos went to the Super Bowl, lost horribly against the Dallas Cowboys. But then I discovered that they had a fictional league. And I am a huge fan of fictional. I am a huge fan of hypothetical. So we're going for the fictional league. So the plan is to eventually go ahead and play through the fictional league, the 14-week season for the fictional league. And when I ordered it, I got a really cool the schedule, the quote unquote official, that's my air quotes, official schedule for the fictional league. Although when Keith sent it off, he kind of put week 13. Now it's supposed to be week 1, and there's only 12 teams in it, so I'm not planning on playing every single team. I've taken one team, and that's going to be my team, and that's the team I'm going to run through. They don't have a Seattle team. They don't have a Denver team. Really wanted to do Denver because I'm a huge Broncos fan, always have been. And then, they don't have Denver. It's like, all right, Seattle. No, they don't have a Seattle team either. Closest they had was Portland, and I despise Portland, so we're not going to do Portland. But closest to the Midwest that I thought would be really cool was Oklahoma City. And so the teams, let's see if we can get kind of a look at what the different teams are. You've got San Antonio, New Jersey, Detroit, Chicago, Orlando, Golden Bay, New York, Oklahoma City, Memphis, Portland, Philadelphia, Portland, Memphis, and St. Louis. Now, the cool thing is the teams don't have names, so you can, since it's a fictional league, you can name them whatever you want. So I've given them all team names. I've gone through and given them all the stadium names. I tend to go overboard when I do hypothetical stuff because I make it mine, and by making it mine, I want to put as much life into it as possible. So let's see if I got. No, I don't think I have a printout of all the team names, but So it gives you the weeks that you go through, and it even goes through. If you notice, you've got italicized. Those are the Monday night games, and the convenient thing, so you don't have to play through each team to find out what their standings are. There is a instant result table that you have here that you just look at whoever's playing at home versus whoever they're playing against. So, for example, let's take a look. We've got San Antonio at New Jersey. So you just take a look at this. So New Jersey's the home team. So you look for New Jersey, and they're playing against San Antonio. Just cross-reference San Antonio. And that gives you a 2d6 result rolled like a percentile dice. So, first dice is the tens column, second dice is the ones column, so 11 through 66. That gives you the breakdown of what the home team's chances of winning are. So, New Jersey at San Antonio, or San Antonio at New Jersey. New Jersey has an 11 through 21 chance of winning. So, whoever's playing that week, you just roll the dice for it till you find out who win. And I've kind of done that for my first week already, except for the team that I'm playing. So, for the first week, we've got San Antonio at New Jersey, and San Antonio won. Detroit at Chicago, Detroit won. Orlando at Golden Bay won. Philadelphia at Portland won. Memphis at St. Louis, and St. Louis won. And my team, like I said, since I'm taking Oklahoma City, I've named them the Oklahoma City Cattle Barons. And they're going to be playing against New York Liberty. That's their name, the New York Liberty at Oklahoma City at, let's see, what did I name it? Bestco Insurance Field, commonly just referred to by everybody as the Stockyards. Yeah, like I said, I make everything my own. So that's the first week that I've got to play out. And there were a couple upsets when I was rolling the dice, because we also kind of have a couple sheets that were sent along with the Fictional League, highlighting each team, what their grade is or how good they are, and what their strengths and their weakness, key players, and commentary are. So San Antonio, grade A, and they're about the best. I think San Antonio won the Fictional League last year, grade A. Their strengths is their offensive line, their defensive secondary, no real weaknesses, key players, top rookies, free agent signings, and then comments. So, and then, Orlando's an A negative, St. Louis is a B plus. And so basically these are just ways for you to able to eyeball and see what the different strengths between the different teams are. And I had a couple big upsets. I can't remember. San Antonio won versus New Jersey. So San Antonio's an A versus New Jersey, which is a D. No big real surprise there. Let's see, Detroit at Chicago. Let's see, Detroit is a C, Chicago's a C minus, so kind of an even there. Detroit won that one. Orlando versus Golden Bay. Yeah, Orlando was an A negative, and Golden Bay is a B minus, and Golden Bay won. Golden Bay Missionaries, and what did I call Orlando? I know it had something to do with, I think it had something to do with Disneyland. I can't remember right off the top of my head. Let's see. Philadelphia versus Portland. Yeah, Philadelphia was a B versus Portland is a C. Portland won that one. So that was kind of a little bit of an upset. And then Memphis at St. Louis. Let's see what Memphis is a D minus, St. Louis is a B plus, and so St. Louis won. Yeah, I think the two upsets were the Golden Bay Missionaries beating Orlando, and the Portland Sea Dogs beating the Philadelphia Minutemen. But so yeah, you can go through it each week, so like I said, I just think that is the coolest thing in the world, and so I've taken over. I'm playing through as Oklahoma City, the Oklahoma City Cattle Barons. They're a C-rated team. I didn't want a really good team. I didn't want a really bad team. I figured something right in the middle was pretty good. And the gameplay is actually really a lot easier than I thought it was going to be. Let's go ahead and take a look right here. We have the Oklahoma City offensive card, and you've got all your positions, your off-tackle, guard, center, guard, off-tackle, your tight ends, quarterback, wide receivers, running backs, and all the different stats that go. Well, if you'll notice, you've got multiple players in each position, because all football teams do, but you've got it in bold, which is the primary, and then you've got the backups and the secondaries also listed as well. And then you've got your punting, or your kicker, and your your punter, and your kicker, the special teams. And then you've got a random chart for randomizing if you want to go that route, who's going to be receiving the play. And there's also little special notes for it. Like, so for the Oklahoma City offense, Malik Garner, which is, where's Malik Garner? He's a running back. He's a backup running back. If he's given an outside run grade of A for his first 4 carries, so the first 4 carries he does, his outside run grade is an A, which is kind of cool because if you look normally, Malik Garner, his inside and outside rating is a D. Of course, we've got this little thing here to indicate, all right, there's something special about that. So the first 4 carries he does, if he's got an outside run, his rating is actually an A. And stats go from AAA, AA, A, B, C, D, all the way down, AAA being the best. Also, you got Daryl Dussault, which is, where is he? Oh, he's also a running back. He's given an outside rate of AA for his first 3 carries. So that's pretty cool. It's something you want to keep an eye on. And when you flip the card over, you just flip it right over. Now you've got their defense. And the defense lined up with, cornerbacks, full safety, linebacks, tight ends, interceptors, all back here. And then again, they have special notes down here as well. So again, Daryl Dussault scores touchdowns on any kickoff returns over 40 yards. So if he gets a kickoff return, if he receives a kickoff that's over 40 yards, that actually becomes a touchdown. And Dennis Redfield, where's Dennis at? There's Dennis. He's the primary linebacker. Is rated as 0/1 in pass defense. So if he's on the defense and it's a pass play, he's rated as 0/1 instead of a normal 1/1, which is what it would be rated. Whoops, you can't see that. Helps if I have the camera. He's rated a 1/1 on a run play, but on a pass play, he's rated 0/1. So what do all these different numbers mean? And the thing I like about it is it's got enough. The game has enough crunch to it, while still not being too stat heavy. So basically, each player has got an pass value and a run value. So if it's a pass play, use the first number. If it's a run play, use the second number. Now it goes 0, 1, 2, 0 being the worst, 2 being the best. So you can kind of get an idea. So Justin Baker here, the off tackle for Oklahoma City, he's good versus a run play and a defense play. Nick Burns is not good versus pass plays, but he is good versus run plays. And then Jovan Brown, you'll see that also you've got a little asterisk right here. Those are rookies. Again, it's a fictional team. And the cool thing about it is Keith carries over from season to season. He does this with his football. He does this with his baseball. His NASCAR. Players and teams carry over from year to year. And from what I understand, the players, as in me and the other people playing the game, if we report our stats, those have a bearing on what next year's season fictional players' stats are going to be, which I think is really cool. So he's also got, not only is he got the fictional team with, quote unquote made up stats, but he's taking the stats that the players, us, are doing and using that to reflect what their next season's stats are going to be. So I think that's pretty cool. You also see sometimes you'll have a negative behind a number, and sometimes you'll have a plus. Yeah, see, like right down here, Sammy Holcomb, the wide receiver, has got a plus after his number. Basically, after his pass defense. Basically, if the play is within the defense's 50-yard line, they either tighten up and they get a bonus, or if they've got a negative number, they start to lose focus and their stat goes down. So Sammy Holcomb here with a 0 pass defense, 0 run, or 0 pass offense, 0 run offense. If they're within the 50-yard lines, within the 50-yard, within the defense's 50-yard line, I'll get that right one of these days. That zero becomes a 1 versus pass plays. Conversely, we'll rule if they're within the 50-yard defense, then his run changes from a 1 to a 0. So not much crunch there. You've got 3 stats, you've got a couple modifiers to it, and there are some other modifiers. You don't see them much in the Fictional League, and definitely not with the lower teams. But if you were to play, the regular football league, or football season with real teams, there's a couple other stats. Quarterbacks have the bomber rating. There's a couple other things. But for the quarterback, you got some extra stats in for the wide receivers and running backs. You have some extra stats as well. So Colt McCown, his CMP is completion. He's an A, so he's not a bad quarterback. But you use that number if he's throwing a pass. His X and his Y are for different yards gained. Q is yards gained on completion, and if he ends up doing an outside run, because sometimes quarterbacks have to scramble, he's rated at AA. Whereas the backup quarterback, Ryan Boehner, is C completion, and he's got a question mark by him, so that means he has increased chances of having an interception. He's a little bit better pass distance wise, because Q is for how far on average the passes will go, and his outside run is phenomenal. I mean, he's just absolutely a quad A on the outside runner. It's just he's not a real good passer, but he's a good scrambler. And you can tell that just by looking at him. So for like the running backs, they do an inside run of A, outside run of A, and then R is usually their generally how far on average. Normally that's modified by a dice roll or something like that. So Darren Howard on the inside and outside run, he's an A, and on average will gain 9 yards. Tyrone Cadet, who's the passing running back, is only a B inside, C outside, and on average will average 13 yards. I can't remember what that double asterisk is. There's a few stats on here that I've only actually sat down and played one game. I played a preseason game against the Portland Sea Dogs. It got my ass kicked. Partially it was because I was still learning the system, but the Portland just outcoached me. I think they ended up being 41-27 or something like that at the end. And then, so you got this tight end wide receiver. He's got an inside outside. He doesn't have an inside outside rating, so he can only receive, only catch. And, Mark Coons, Lamont Harper, Austin Holscher, and Tyler Toohey. And Tyler's not too bad, though it's in parentheses, which means something bad can really happen to him if you get the wrong thing on a chart. But yeah, that's the basic stats. I mean, there's not much stat wise or many numbers you have to remember what things they do. And for like for the kicking team, the special team, XP is if he's going for an extra point, he's a triple A. If he's going for field goal, he's double A. If he's just what is LFG? I think that's a kickoff. He's a triple A, or no, kickoff is an A. Well, I can't remember what LFG is. Oh, well. Obviously doesn't come up. And then the kick return, his average yards that he returns, his return grade, and a couple other stats on there. Again, sorry, I don't remember what all the numbers are. Not all of them showed up in the game. The game is designed both for solitaire and for 2 players. And I have this really neat mat here. This is not the mat that actually came with the game. There was another mat that was kind of utilitarian. The one thing I love about the play community is that there are several people in it who have gone above and beyond and made up their own fields, pitches, play aids, and just a great wealth of play aids. And this was actually designed by Al Wilson, and Al actually has a couple different of these type of mats. He's got this one, which has got you can tell there's the little yardage indicator for each one of them. So 50, 40, 42, 43, 44. So you have each one of them indicated, and I like to play with that because then it's like, all right. The football is on the 46, first down, 10 to go, got to get to the 44. So he has another one that doesn't have these football indicators on it. It just goes off by line. But I didn't want to try to, okay, that's the 46. My old eyes can't see that well to begin with, so I need these bigger circles to really help me see. And so, if you do a play, you gain 4 yards. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4. Hey, now 4th and 6. or 2nd and 6, or 3rd and 6, or whatever. Lose 10 yards, you go back. Hey, it's a real quick, easy way. I kind of like, so like I said, I like this mat. Just because it's got the big circles on it makes it easier for me to see. And if you notice, there's also a lot of good utilitarian stuff on there. There is a solitaire offense and defensive pass for play calling. I don't use this one. There's another one I use that I'll get to it a little bit. And you've got the game clock. I mean, again, time is real easy. Every normal play is 30 seconds. If it's out of bounds, or if there's anything that would stop the clock in football, it's a 15-second play. 4 quarters. So on the average, you're looking at about 30 plays, under 30 plays per quarter. And if you know what you're doing, you could probably, knock out a play in 15, 20 seconds tops, or, even quicker than that. And then you've got, there's some other things. You've got, because the game covers such a wide period of time, and since NFL rules have changed so much over time, so you've got difference on, where did the kickoff spot. So pre-1974 was from the 40-yard line. 74 to 93, it was the 35-yard line. 94 to 2010, 30-yard line. 2011 to present. And it's got little reminders like that spot after missed field goal, just conversion point changes. And then, of course, you got quarters 1 through 4 and the downs here. I don't like using the on-map stuff other than using the actual field to mark where the ball position is. What I like to do is, and again, I think this is an Al Wilson creation, is this play log right here. So you got your 2 teams, and you got your clock, and you basically just tick off. It's like, all right, if it's a 30-second, mark it off there. And then you've got your play logs. So you got possession, who's got control of the ball, what down it is, distance to go, and where the line of scrimmage is at. If it's a run play, a pass play, a kick play, who the receiver or the ball runner is, how many yards they make in any notes. And you just jot it down. You roll for it. You do your play. It's like, all right, it was a run to, Matumba, and he gained 4 yards off of it. So you just mark it down. This is pretty much how I keep track of what down it is by marking and jotting down as the plays go on. It's like, all right, 1st and 10 on the 13, okay, made 4 yards, 2nd and 6 on the 9, and, just mark it down that way. And I use that to keep track of also which players and how many yards they made, and any injuries and kickoffs and such like that. One thing that I also like to do, actually, I won't get into that yet. What to cover next? Okay, so I was mentioning the game can be played solitaire or head-to-head. And when you're playing head-to-head, if you've got you get your offensive team, your defensive team, basically defense will secretly pick what type of defense they're going to do first. And there's really only 4 different defensive, you're not looking at a 3-4 nickel defense versus whatever. The defenses are just run defense, safe defense, pass defense, and blitz defense. And so the defense team will, secretly pick one of the colors. Each of the colors represents a different defensive play. The offense will say, all right, well, I'm going to do a screen pass. And then the defender will show what type of defensive play he did. So it's kind of a double blind because the defense chooses his defense before the offense mentions what he's doing. And that's how you figure out what the play is. And then you go to play, and then you go to your book, you roll 2d6, and look at what the effects are, check some stats, see if there's gains, losses, all that other good stuff. Find out what the yardage gained or lost was, any special play, any special things that happen on the play, and then go straight on, mark off the time, move straight on to the next play. And that's head to head. Head to head's real easy to figure out. Defensive player secretly chooses his play. Offensive player states what he's doing. Defensive player shows what his defensive move is. Go to the book, figure it out, yada, yada, yada. When you're playing by yourself, it's a little bit more difficult. There are several ways to play solitaire, and most of these are recommended in the rulebook. The first one is you just roll randomly for each play. You roll the offense, you roll randomly for the offense, randomly for the defense, and who the ball carrier is, and then check the book from there. To me, that's god awful boring because it's all completely random. There is no decisions that you make. It's just an automated system. You're just rolling the dice, comparing stats. Now, if you just want to get through a game real quick, that's probably the way to go. And, with the stats being fairly accurate, you'll get a good representation of what those teams would have done against each other in real life. But to me, gameplay is about choices. Making decisions. If you're not making any decisions or making any choices, the narrative ought to be hella good. Now, I don't have problems with that because, as I've mentioned before, face to the mat, aside from when you choose your two wrestlers, there's no decisions whatsoever. However, the narrative of it is out frigging standing. Narrative of second season is almost quite as good. Not quite, but, wrestling is more of a entertainment spectator sport anyways. So how I play it and how I'm choosing to play it is I'm going to be calling all the plays for the Oklahoma City Cattle Barons and having the dice randomly determine what the opposing team is going to be doing. Now, for what I do for that, like I said, you kind of have a basic chart right here, but I really don't like this chart. So, again, Al Wilson came up with a defense coordinator, offense coordinator chart that is a little bit more robust. So, for example, here we have first and down, second and down. You use this chart for the offense call plays. It's even got an audible, which kind of doesn't work real well with the Fictional League. There's extra stats that the normal teams have, which is their running and passing tendencies. They have values for that. So teams that are more prone to running pass plays, you'll have that stat to figure in so that they'll actually end up running more pass plays. The Fictional League doesn't have that, which kind of irritates me, but, you do what you got to do. And then you've got the defense coordinator and, whatever the yardage is. So, first and 10, it's going to be just a normal defense. But, you get down to, if it's 3rd and 5, chances are the opponent's probably going to call a pass. So, here's the different defenses that could come out with that. This kicked my ass when I was playing the first game solitaire against the Portland Sea Dogs. I got murderfied. And I think the Portland Sea Dogs scored 20 points in the first quarter alone. And then, of course, you get some special, a sheet of special situations here. Now, the funny thing is, when I picked this game up and I watched some videos that Al had done, I had gone to the play.com website to download what, accoutrements and add-ons I wanted to use because I really have been getting into making the game my own by using different graphical maps. Those of you that remember me doing the Wolfpack scenario remember that I didn't use the official map. I used the map that someone had redone graphically off Board Game Geek, and then my upfront, some of my play aids I get off Board Game. So I really enjoy making a game my own because then I can go out, pick and choose what I want. So I was going through that and I decided, all right, this is what I want to get. Okay, I found this. I had to run up to the Staples to get it printed out. So I've already dumped $59 into the game because it was $40 for the base game. It was $19 or $15 for the Fictional League. So then I run up to Staples. I get the field printed out. I get this laminated. This is 11 by 17. That was $2 or $3. And I wanted, I had several of these play aids that I wanted printed out. I originally wanted them printed out and laminated because that's what I do with most of mine. But the guy that working there didn't realize he had photo paper in the printer, and they came out on this photo paper. And I'll be honest, I didn't even want him to laminate it because it's definitely more sturdy than, a regular sheet of paper. And it actually cost me less because evidently the photo paper printout is cheaper than printing out and then laminating. So it's like, all right, that was a happy little mistake. We like that. And so, all the printing, that was like, maybe $5 that I needed to do. And then I got these stands. So, again, I think it was Al Wilson that highlighted these stands. Let me turn that light off. Okay. It basically, you've got, when you're playing, you've got your offensive and defense, and, you just have whichever, because, Oklahoma City's on offense, that means New York's on defense. So what I just do is I just print out, because I got a printer scanner here at home, just take the team cards, scan them, print them out on one sheet of paper. And so, all right, here's my Oklahoma on offense, and I do this for every team. Oklahoma on offense, their opponent on defense, and here's their opponent on offense and on defense. And so I just, all right, whoever's on offense, whoever's on defense, it's right there. It's standing up. I can set it back a little bit. It's right there. So I can, glance at it while I'm playing, so I don't have too much papers all over the place. So those cost me $14-15 each. So yeah, I was already in $20 into this game just to make the game my own before I ever actually sat down, and that was in addition to purchasing it. Of course, I do stupid stuff like that all the time. So how does the game play? Now, I know a lot of sports players who know Second Season, NoPlay.com already know this, but for a lot of my war gamers who's never even heard of this, they're not really sure. All right, so you're rolling dice, and what does that mean? Well, let's go ahead and turn my other light back on. There we go. All right, so say you're calling a play, and say I am playing as the Oklahoma City offense. I decide, all right, well, I want to do a... Oh, yeah, when you're doing the plays. When you're playing Solitaire and you're rolling the plays, you've got 2d6 to determine what the play is going to be, and then you usually have another, a d20 to determine who the ball carrier is going to be. So, for example, here we've got, say we roll a 53, which is, rolling on offense. You only roll 1d6. If you roll the second d6, if you get doubles, then it goes to the audible. So you're playing against somebody, you roll the dice. All right, 15, which is no audible. So you can ignore that and just look at the one. Say it's a 1st and 10. So it's an offensive. It's a normal offensive play, so it's going to be an inside run, and it's going to be to player 6. Well, you look at their sheet, and they've got this chart right here. So an inside run with 6 would be to Leauge. So then you know who's going to be carrying the ball on the inside run, and if you need to, you got Leauge's stats right here, which actually isn't that bad. Oh, yeah, now I remember what those asterisks are for. Never mind. We'll get to that in a little bit. So that's how you have the Solitaire decide what the play is, who's going to be getting the play. And when you're on defense, again, it's real simple. You only have to roll 1d because there's no audibles on defense. You just roll the dice. All right, 5. Say it's a 3rd and 5. So 5, it's a pass. Defense is doing a pass play. Now, you always, as the human player playing against the AI, you always want to declare what you declare what your intention is before you roll for it. It kind of defeats the purpose if you know what the AI is going to do. Now, granted, some people say, "Well, you just hack their network, or you listened into their audibles, or what have you." Well, just don't be a dick. And like I said, the AI kicked my ass the first game. So, anyways, getting back to how the play actually plays out. So, say I'm on defense. It's 1st and 10. It's 1st and 10 on the 28. I decide what type of defense I want to do. That's all right. 1st and 10. All right, we'll go with a screen defense. So I've stated my defense. If I was playing head-to-head with somebody, I would secretly hold in my hand, and I can't remember which color it is for screen defense. We'll just say I think orange is pass defense, but we'll say, all right, you know, secretly hold in my hand one of the colors. Then, and we'll say, like I said, we'll say this is screen defense. Then the computer, it's the computer, the AI will roll. So it's going to be a 26, and so it's not double, so you know it's not an audible. So it's a 1st and 10. 1st and 10. So we look on the normal column, we rolled a 2. It's an inside run. It's an inside run is an 18. We look at New York's offense. 18 is going to Boomer, which is, where's Boomer? Where's Boomer? LaShawn Boomer is one of their running backs, so it's going to be an inside run to him. All right, we've got everything that we need to know. It's doing an inside run against a screen defense. All right. Go ahead and open up your book, and what I need to do is I need to get little tabs, and you look for, all right, you've got the 4 defenses versus the 5 different types of plays you got. So we got screen defense versus screen pass plays. Whoops, we're doing safe, not screen. I know what I'm doing, honestly, but it is a run. So we go with an inside run. So we go to the inside run, and like I said, I need to get little tabs because they're broken down, you know, inside, outside, screen, short, medium, long, and then what defenses you face off against. So you got an inside run versus, and we went with a safe defense. So this is the chart we're going to be using. Again, real easy. You take the offensive play versus the type of defensive play, find what chart you're looking for. Hey, we found out what chart we're looking for. Then you roll the 2d6 again and roll it like it's a percentile. With, you know, I always call the blackest, for this game I call blackest 10s and 1s is the 1 column. So we got a 51, we look on the 51 column. All right, and then you look at what quarter it is. It's broken down by 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th quarter. So for 51 is a D, and what does that mean? The chart is laid out, and I think I've got this figured out so far. 1 in 6 chance, and there are variations to this depending on what type of defense you're running against what type of offense. Now, inside run versus a safe is a little bit wider. That's an 11 through a 23. But you look at a screen pass versus a pass defense, it's 11 through 22. So there are little variations by play in what each of the different set number sets represent. Basically, the first set, 11 through the I don't want to call it, well, the 1 in 6 chance, roughly, again, I'm saying this just roughly, throwing it out there, is going to be dependent totally on either the quarterback or the ball receiver's stat. So, for example, had I rolled a 15, take a 15, all right, this totally goes off the ball receiver's stat, and we already know that we rolled for, who was it? Bring my chart back over here. It was Boomer. Boomer was the receiver. I think it was Boomer, or was it Leauge? Well, okay, we'll just say it was Leauge. Say Leauge was the intended, well, is the receiver. So you go ahead and look at his stat line. Leauge, it's a inside run, so he's a B quality. He's a B quality on an inside run. And then, so you look at the chart, 15, cross-reference it with a B, he picks up 2 yards. Real simple. Now, there also comes down about a 1 in 6 chance, and again, I'm saying this, there are variations depending on what the play is versus the defense is, but basically, you're going to come down, there's roughly a 1 in 6 chance of the stat going off of either the quarterback or the intended receiver or intended runner, a 1 in 6 chance of one of your team checking stats to do something good, a 1 in 6 chance of your team checking stats to see if they did something bad, a 1 in 6 chance of you checking the opponent's team stats to see if they did something good, 1 in 6 chance of you checking the opponent's stats to see if they did something bad, and then, you know, there are variations like, you know, slight variations depending on the type of play. Unusual results table. It's not a perfect breakdown by play, but that's how I put it in my mind. So, for example, instead, if we'd have rolled a 65, we looked at the 65, and this is the first quarter because it's broken down by quarters. So, and we see it's the K. Now, all defensive teams, their positions are labeled by a single letter. all offensive positions are labeled by dual letter. So if we kind of take a look at the New York offense, if it's rated, if we have the player we have to look at a TA, which would be the left tackle, GA would be the guard, CE would be the center, so on and so forth. And on the defensive, A is a cornerback, B is a full safety, C is the center, or one of these days. I'll admit it's really been years since I was that involved in football, so I kind of forget some of the positions' initials. But you get the idea. So that's how you can tell at a glance if you're checking the defensive team or the offensive team. If it's a single letter, you're checking the defense stats. If it's a double letter, you're checking the offense stats. So, in this example, we roll 65, and it's the first quarter. Get the camera back down here. So you're looking at player K. All right, who is player K on the Oklahoma City defense? Well, we got the defensive end, Cedro Rand, or Cordero Rand. That's my bad eyesight kicking in again. So Cordero Rand is whose stat we are going to check. Now, what stat are we checking? Well, it's a 65, and so we rolled, it was the K because it's the first quarter, so when we're looking at Cordero Rand, what are we looking at? We're looking at his run stat. Is his run stat at least a 0? So we look at him. Remember, first number is the pass stat, second number is the run stat. It is a 0. However, he's got a little plus beside it. So that means if it's within the defense's 50-yard line, it becomes a 1. But as we were stating earlier, I think we said we were on the 26th, he was not inside, or since it's not inside the defense's 50-yard line, his stat stays the same at 0. So, run is 0. All right. Then it says, check the XR column. And that's where you go to the next page. You got the XR column. Roll the dice again. Okay, we got a 65 again. So, now we have to check. We go XR results. Come down to 65. Is the runner's inside run grade, and looking back at Leauge's, his inside run was a B. So if the if the runner's inside grade is greater than a D, which it is because his inside run is a B, if yes, he twists free of the linebacker and go. Now there's another charge to roll on. If not, picks past defenders 16 yards plus a D6. That's what that little square means. If you ever see a little square there, it's just roll a 6-sided D6. Picks past defenders 16 plus D6 yards. But since his stat was greater than D, you go to the go chart, which is also right here. And you've also got unusual and penalties just in case. So you roll again on the go chart. We got a 55. And that would be a 31 plus D6 yards. So that was a little bit kind of long and convoluted how we got there, but that's how you get there. That's how you run the plays. And occasionally you'll have something that'll be, let's see if I can find it. You'll have an injury on the play, or you have the unusual results table, which could end up with a penalty. The charts have got a wide enough variance that I don't think you can really memorize them. Not that I want to, but it definitely is enough meat on the bones for each play to make the game worthwhile and fun, in my opinion, especially with me making the choices for the offense for my team playing against the AI defense. There's a few other things that are involved with the game, but for the most part, that's what it comes down to. Defense, compare offensive and defensive choice picks. Look to the proper table. So, here's a screen pass versus pass defense, and roll 2d6 to see what it is. See what the effect could be. Check the players. Check their stats. It's a if-then or if-or, equal to or. That's something similar to computer programming. If then, yeah, there you go, if then programming. If it's this, then this. If not, use this. And then just roll the dice and just go from there. Yeah, I know I'm horrible at trying to explain crap like that. But like I said, I don't know if I'm going to record all 14 games because, like I said, even, on the average, 20 to 30 plays per quarter. Probably take me 30 seconds to a minute to do each play. I'm looking at hour and a half, 2 hours to get a game in, at least initially. So I don't know if I'm going to record them all, but I do want to record some and get them out there. Because like I said, I've had a couple of my sports fans, and I do have, there are some of my sports game fans on the channel, even though this is mainly a Hex Encounter War game channel. But they've been asking for some more sports games, and I just really it is enamored, fell in love with second season because it's not as heavy as a lot of other ones out there. It's got enough crunch in it for me. I can and I've got the Fictional Leauge, so I can do my own thing with it, which I really enjoy. So yeah, we'll see what happens with it. I know my explanation was probably not the best, and as I play it and record it, I'm sure people will see exactly what I'm talking about as they see me go through everything. And as I've said, this is all old hat for the play.com guys, but for my normal war gamers, this is all new territory. So I hope you enjoyed. Hope everybody will stick around to watch me play with the Oklahoma City Cattle Barons as I take them through the 2017 season. Oh, one other thing I did want to mention: when you're doing the call plays, all the players, quarterbacks. No, not the quarterback. Wide receivers, running backs, anybody who's going to carry the ball or catch the ball has a stat to determine how often they can do it in a game before they start to get tired. And if you're playing solitaire and just rolling the dice for it, the rules say don't worry about tracking this number because you have no way, since it's all random, you have no way of having control of it. However, if you're calling the plays like I'm going to be doing, say, all right, I'm going to do an inside run with Tyrone Cadet, all right, so he's got his stat, he can run 10 times before he starts to get fatigued. So every time I do a run with Tyrone Cadet, I just mark off one. With catches, all right, I'm going to do a short pass to, Malik Garner, all right, so short pass, complete the pass, mark it off. If they get fatigued, their stats degrade some. So it's something you do kind of need to keep an eye on. I think this is just an extra step that I do that I enjoy doing just because there is that fatigue level, and it's like I really got to pay attention to, all right, it's like, all right, yeah, Daron Howard, he's a great runner, but, I can only run him 10 times before he starts getting fatigued. Hey, Daryl DeSalt, he's great for the first 3 runs, but after that he starts to drop off. But, like I said, I don't want Howard to get too fatigued, so, you kind of got to break up your plays. And, again, choices, making decisions, thinking things through. That's strategy. That's war game type stuff. So not everybody does that. I do it just because, hey, that's the way I roll. That's all I got, though. Questions, comments, concerns, complaints, criticisms in the comment section. And I'll see everybody next time. See ya!